How's it going, guys? Strife here, and this is the walkthrough for AC Path 3. So you can see we're picking it up here in the middle. What I just did there is the way you skip Kohler if you don't want to fight him, since you still don't need to. And we're going the same way as Path 2, except we're going to go into this far back room instead of the bottom room. Once we get into this hallway, 4 of the Ascalonian ghost mobs are going to spawn. You can just run right by them. Guardian can use his line of warding as well now, so it's pretty easy to run through that. Once we are in this room, this is probably my second least favorite event out of every single dungeon, just because it is so boring. So what's going to happen, most people are probably pretty familiar since it didn't change at all in the February 26th patch, but we're just going to sit in this room and kill burrows for like 4 minutes or something. It's really boring. It's kind of something that I was disappointed that they didn't change, because they revamped the whole dungeon and this is probably the most boring and tedious thing out of AC. So that is a little bit disappointing. The other thing is that the burrows all spawn in the same location every single time, so once you do this enough, you can memorize the burrow locations and you can just run over to them and burst them down really quick when you do have high DPS. If you are in a pug group and you have a bunch of people that maybe have less DPS, one thing that's really good is the ice bow on elementalists if you do have that in your group. So that thing will destroy burrows and pretty much any inanimate object. But as you can see, we kill these burrows pretty quickly. A lot of the times the gravelings don't even spawn. So we're pretty much going to watch this for the next few minutes. So in the meantime, I did mention this is my second least favorite event in all the dungeons. My least favorite overall is going to be the Grunt event in a Raw Path 4. For people who aren't familiar with that, you do a rather interesting mechanic for the first couple of minutes killing the boss. Then after that, you pretty much have to run around this big room and kill like 20 silver wraiths. The room is maybe 4 times the size, so you have to run a lot further. It takes longer to kill the wraiths than it does to kill these burrows, and overall it just takes a bit longer and it's just as tedious, so that's why that one is the worst event overall. Hopefully they fix that one and make it more interesting in the future. And maybe they'll make this one more interesting as well, but I don't know. I think at this point they're probably going to focus on other dungeons now. So we're stuck with this. So as you can see, top right corner, we are now 40% done. Still got another 60 to go. Now the whole purpose of this event is to protect those essence collectors. You can see their life bar in the top right corner. If you are in a pug and you're falling a little bit behind on the burrows, you just want to try and kite around any mobs and pretty much prevent them from hitting the essence collectors. If one essence collector goes down, it's still possible to finish with the other one. I can't recall if the essence obtained percentage in the top right corner goes slower or not, but I remember the very first time I ever did AC Path 3 way back, probably September. I was on my Necro, and this was back, when not everyone had full exotics yet and no one knew what classes were good, and obviously Necro's terrible for killing objects, especially back then when I was running condition build. So we ended up having one essence collector die, and we actually had to kite around mobs for a little bit to finish the event. So it is possible. But at this point, I think most people are in exotics. They know about direct damage on objects. They know this event. Things like Ice Bow are good, so I don't think anyone should really have too much trouble on this. So we are now at the, I believe, last 3 burrows. So we're going to hit this one, go to the opposite end, hit another one, and then come back here for the last one. So you can pretty much finish this event by like 87%, 85%, and then you'll just sit around and wait out for the last 15%. Alright, so we finished that off. Killed this last Graveling. In terms of speed, because this event's so long, Path 1 is the only path that you can really speed run without interruption in AC. Path 2 and 3 both have events that slow you down, because you can't really speed them up at all. I kind of hate Path 3 just because of this, so usually I try not to run it. What we're doing right now is we're being bored and we are stacking Swiftness and Fury up with all the banners on everyone. So you'll see we'll have like over a minute of Fury and Swiftness after doing this, along with the 4 Great Justices. Alright, so we are just going to run to the next event. Again, more burrows. This room has just a few spiders, pretty easy to run by. It's pretty easy to not even get hit, just try and dodge those projectiles. Alright, so this room, you're going to have to kill 4 burrows. It's pretty much the same as before as well. The Gravelings, they do have a little bit different damage moves, which you've seen in the other paths as well. The Gravelings now, they'll kick you instead of fully knocking you down. The mini Gravelings that spawn from the breeder cause bleeding. And then there's the burrow move from the Stalker, I believe, which goes underground, and then a red circle appears and you just want to time your dodges to avoid that knockdown as well. But overall, this is still pretty easy. We burn down the burrows pretty quickly, and again, if you have the Ellie with the ice bow, you can just stay at range and destroy those burrows really quickly as well if you're running an Ellie in your group. And once we finish this last burrow, everything's just going to despawn. And then you can just pick up your chest up here. So one thing that did happen to us the very first time we ran this new AC Path 3 is you can see the waypoint in the bottom right corner. Before this patch, we would always just waypoint there and wait at the cave for it to open. When we tried that the very first time after February 26th, the NPC actually bugged out and he wouldn't open this door or the cave. So we actually had to restart the dungeon. So now we just wait at this door to prevent any bugs that could have occurred because of that. So now we're just going to run to the last boss, who is in the same location as AC Path 1. In the meantime, I'm going to start talking about Colossus Rumbler, who changed in the February 26th patch. So his first 2 basic attacks, he just has his normal auto attack, except it puts conditions on you and also knocks you back. He also has a shockwave attack, which has 6 little prongs that go out, where if you get hit by them, you will get knocked down. But his main mechanic is still his boulder drop from the ceiling. So now the big red circles that show where the boulders are going to hit are very large, meaning you can't really dodge them anymore. The intended mechanic is that War Master Grass, the NPC with us, is supposed to create a shield, which you stand in, which will prevent you from getting hit by the boulders. The problem is the NPC is really buggy. First, he dies extremely easy if he gets hit by a couple of attacks. He will also, you see he has a long hammer charge up, so sometimes he doesn't cast his shield in time. So what we do is, you saw the very first time we interrupted him. The second time we're going to interrupt him as well. So if you interrupt him, he won't cast the boulders either, and then we're just going to burn him down. We use the Mesmer F3 to remove 3 Defiant stacks and the Guardian to remove the other 2, with the Warriors focusing on knockdowns. So hopefully this helped you out, and thanks for watching.